everybody, it's Colette Baron-Reid and welcome to the Universal Energy Forecast for this week, August 18th. And we have another mixed bag of things to think about this week, all of us. I chose the cards this week from Wisdom of the Hidden Realms because they were really speaking to me. And it was really funny when I chose the cards because I had meditated and prayed beforehand and they were so obvious what to pick, so obvious. And even the energy of each card, you'll see when I tell you what they are, really kind of felt exactly as the card was too, including the one that is a little bit tricky this week. So anyhow, we start this week with the Dream Walker, which is about the dream of the collective good. And it's also about illusions. So the Dream Walker tells us and always reminds us that when we are focused on our own life, we do have a tendency sometimes of realizing that our wants, needs, and desires don't necessarily serve the greater good. So we're moving into a time more and more where our purpose serves the greater good. So it's really yet again about us taking a look at what doesn't serve the collective, but also what we are all caught up in as well. So on an individual level, what do I do? What is my purpose that serves the greater good? What doesn't? And then what is the collective experience that we're all going through right now that leads us all into this new evolution that is to better humankind, right? So this is always to better something. So when we look into the world right now and we see all war and strife and murder and, you know, and all these very difficult experiences that other countries, for example, are experiencing. We may not here in North America, but I'm sure if you're watching this and you don't live here, you may be one of those people that are going through this revolutionary time. We have to remember that these changes, although they may seem very painful and very problematic in that moment, that they're all part of this evolutionary cycle for the greater good. It's hard to remember that when we're seeing destruction. So with the cycles of nature, which is the next card, is the Sisters of the Season. Everything has a nature. Sometimes what we're seeing is decay. So in autumn, for example, autumn to winter, that season where we see leaves fall and structures that used to support life fall apart. I think we have to remember that when we are yet again looking into the conditions of the outer world and thinking, wow, everything is falling apart, when really it's the cycle, the cleansing cycle, the way nature reveals itself to us, the nature of humankind as well as it evolves has to go between these two pillars of who am I now and who do I want to be and what works and what doesn't work. So this is going on for everybody right now. The Hawk Prince is great because it tells us that Spirit's listening to us and is going to send us messages and we have to pay attention to them. And I really like to believe that intuition, you know, is something that we're all evolving more into. I've seen it, you know, obviously my world is small because it's all I talk about, but I am seeing more and more people talking about how their intuition seems to be a little bit more on point when they're recognizing the signs, symbols, and omens in their world. They're seeing the synchronicity, they taste it, they know it more viscerally. So it becomes a sense that's become more user-friendly, I guess. The sixth sense becomes something that we actually use. So the Hawk Prince reminds us that the greater consciousness, the one that is above all of our consciousness, above the collective consciousness, is a spirit consciousness, or it is the divine consciousness, the greatest intelligence, the God consciousness, that has a plan for all of us. And that plan is revealed to us in divine appropriate timing, which was about the Sisters of the Seasons. So again, the idea that, oh yeah, we can pay attention. Our spidey senses are awake and we're going to start noticing, yes, I'm on the right track. Oh, I'm not on the right track. These simple things are there to help us continue our path and our journey forward. The Dragon's Duel is that card, that tricky card that happens at the end. And because it typically means conflict or inner conflict. And there's that story about having two dragons and one is positive, the other one is more negative and destructive, and which one are you going to feed? The idea of, you know, if you focus on the frequency that is all about the destruction or the decay, that's what you're going to get more of. But if you maintain, in spite of the conditions, in spite of the outer conditions, a real connection to that, I say the fiery dragon of personal power and optimism, because fire is passion, purpose, spirit, optimism. The more we feed that, the more of that frequency we'll be aligned with, and more of those things will settle down into the material world. So in spite of your temporary conditions of things being at odds, this is a week to be very mindful of that conflict and be very mindful of the duality that we're all experiencing, and be mindful of the seasons and the evolution of change. That if you're having difficulty or trouble right now, this too shall pass. And if you're on top of the world right now, this also too shall pass. It's a continuous evolution of a story that all of us are experiencing. But I really do feel too that this is a good week to focus on what is your dream and desire, because you can manifest it. Be very mindful, however, what is it that you're focusing on mostly? And those of you who are having a more difficult time right now, this is the challenge for you. It is the challenge to ignore or in a way refuse to stay too long in the condition and align yourself with a greater frequency, even though it hasn't happened yet. It will. All right. What an interesting week we're going to have. Until I talk to you next week, I hope you have a good one. I'd love to hear from you and tell me how things are going for you. Take care. Bye.
Traveling down the road, I didn't know that I was lost. I had tried too many shortcuts, and the cost left my heart broken. So I had it closed for repairs. Wandering in my desert, your oasis appears. You're like a long, cool drink of water. I'm thirsty, that's clear when I taste you. I know you, I know you, I do. So can you feel it? Tell me, I need to know. Do you remember? Don't it feel like coming home? Your eyes are like the sea as it reflects the summer sky. You know I